everybody. I'm Elena Barbera. Welcome to the Based Mother Show. Tonight we got a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Agenda 47 again. We're going to talk about the specific plan that Donald Trump has to end the scourge of drug cartels that are ruining our nation. We also have a special guest tonight from 617Defense in Massachusetts. This is a guy named Nolan Howard, and we're going to talk about Massachusetts Bill H4885, which is one of the most restrictive, unconstitutional gun bills ever to have been passed in Massachusetts, which has a history of trying to disarm citizens, ironically. Let's get right to it.
Have you heard of the Based Mother?
Agenda 47. If you go on Donald Trump's website, you can find every single point to his plan to save America. And one of the points is about the drug cartels that are taking over the country. Let me play a quick clip for you from the president himself.
Fentanyl, heroin, meth, and other lethal drugs are pouring across our wide open border, stealing hundreds of thousands of beautiful American lives, and it's happening like never before in our history. Children are being left without parents, families are being ripped apart, communities are being decimated. Our neighbors and fellow citizens are having their entire worlds destroyed like nobody thought possible. Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels. In this war, Joe Biden has sided against the United States and with the cartels. They are making more money than they've ever made before, times 10. There's never been anything like it. They're major companies. They're bigger than even some of our biggest companies. Biden's open border policies are a deadly betrayal of our nation. When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS caliphate, and just as, unlike the situation we're in today, we had a very strong border, the strongest border, in fact, in the history of our country.
It's hard to even imagine that we're in this place where 100,000 people a year in America are dying just of fentanyl. So, we talk about these. Some people are really kind of cruel, and they're like, oh, well, drug users, made that choice. Yes, we know they made that choice. But that still doesn't mean that when you buy cocaine, you should get fentanyl and actually die of poisoning, not die of an overdose. That is what's happening. We saw at the RNC convention, there was a mother who was there talking about her 15-year-old son who gave in to peer pressure, and he took a pill. It was apparently his first time ever even trying a drug. And it turns out that the pill that he thought was just going to make him feel good had fentanyl in it, and he died. This isn't a unique case, unfortunately. This is just what's happening in America now. And it is a massive problem, and it is exacerbated by Joe Biden's open border policies. And Trump has a plan to actually do it, and it's pretty straightforward. He's going to call on the DOD to bring in special forces, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and so on, are going to go in and fight the cartels and destroy them. They're massive. They have guns. They have armies. They have money that we can't even imagine. They have infrastructure, and they need to be broken down so that we as a nation can start to recover from this. It'll be generations before we fully recover from the trauma that has been caused and the bloodshed and the wake of death that is in the wake of Joe's decisions to just let these people run wild. He's not doing anything. Not to mention, it's not just the drugs that the cartels are bringing in. They're sex traffickers. They're making money in every possible way. And Americans are burying their children because of it. So we're going to have special forces. What else? I can't even read my own handwriting here. Cyber warfare he's going to use against them to interrupt their operations. He's going to designate them as a foreign terrorist organization so that he can mobilize everything we have against them as if we would any other terrorist organization, because they are killing. If anybody else came in and just smashed and killed 100,000 Americans, what would we do? We'd fight them. No, but we're not doing that right now. We're just letting them rip. He's going to interrupt their financial resources and all of their banking because they're just flying money all over the place. This is what is needed in order to stop this. And this is the Agenda 47 that you can look, if you look into a liberal's eyes and they say Donald Trump is evil. He's evil because he wants to save Americans from dying of fentanyl overdoses. No, it's not evil. It's good. And any one of them, they all know people in liberal cities, especially where drugs aren't prosecuted as they should be and as they have been in the past. Every single one of them has blood on their hands if they vote against something like this. All right, guys, let's get right to Nolan Howard from 617 Defense in Boston. He's here today to talk about Massachusetts Bill H4885, which is the most restrictive gun bill that we have seen ever in Massachusetts. And it's probably coming to a state near you. It is just pages and pages and pages of minutia. And what they're doing now is what they've, you know what? I'm going to cut it out. Let's get into the conversation and we'll learn all about it there. This is coming for all of us. Another constitutional right destroyed by Democrats. Nolan Howard, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
So I'm a concerned resident, out of Massachusetts and the communists of Massachusetts. Married. I've got a 2-year-old and I'm on Pro 2A. I live in Boston, Mass. About for 5 years. I've been back and forth through Framingham and there, back and forth. So I just stayed out here. And,
all right.
The rest is history. I've got into, shooting about 6 years ago. And then I became an instructor going on. This August will be a year. I've been teaching. Yep.
So you've been a firearms trainer for a year. How long have you been into firearms in Massachusetts in general?
About 6 years when Trump was in office.
Okay. What made you, all right, that's interesting that you said that. Mm-hmm. What made you get interested in firearms?
I've always liked it, as a kid. But when you live in house rules as a kid, you can't get them. So my parents, they didn't want it. So I just kept it to myself. As time goes on, I just said, let me get my license because something was fishy in the air. It wasn't because of Trump or anything. It was just something wasn't right to me. And I just went to go get my license, did the class, and then the rest was history, really.
How was it easy? Were you living in Boston when you bought your first gun?
No, I was in Framingham.
Is it easier to buy a gun in Framingham to get? Yeah.
The suburbs are so much less restrictions. Plus shorter time to get your license of LTC. Boston's like a year. So when I moved back,
it's a year to wait to to exercise your constitutional right.
It's a year in Boston, unfortunately. So
is that because that's the waiting period, or that's just a backlog, or
that's just like how Boston, they drag their feet.
Because they don't want you to have a gun. It's not important.
Pretty much in policies, you know how it is there. So they purposely drag their feet.
I've heard that. I've heard that. And when I was living there, I had looked into, I was trying. I took my class. I had my safety certificate and all that. And then I was going to get a gun. And they were like, yeah, you got to talk to. What I learned at the time was, you had to make an appointment with this cop, like one cop who handles everybody. And because they make it a purposeful bottleneck in order to keep it slow and but they don't really seem to do anything to keep illegal guns off the streets.
Right. I don't get it either. Like even after they passed the new law, like it goes in effect actually tomorrow. No, I'm sorry, Thursday. They're still, I've been seeing stuff on Twitter. They're like arresting young kids with guns, another guns off the street, here, there. And I'm like, oh, this is going to work. So,
all right, back it up. So this new law, all right, not everybody knows what's going on in Massachusetts, but a lot of people do care about two-way rights. And what's going on in Massachusetts is if it works, well, likely, actually, it either is modeled after other gun laws in other states, or maybe it'll be a model for future, restrictive gun laws in other states. I'm not even sure. I'm just digging into this now for the first time, and I want you here to give us the overview. What's the broad strokes on what is this new law?
This new law basically just wants to ban every commonly owned semi-automatic you could possibly imagine. So Bill H.A. was at 4885, which Representative Day did and everything. A little weasel, but going forward anyways. They got it passed. This is the worst bill since Jim Crow. It is so bad. It is so bad. So, you got other people at goals working on this stuff. Gun owners actually here in Massachusetts, they actually work with these politicians. And basically the politicians just lied in our faces. And basically this bill is just a gun-grabbing bill. This has nothing to do with stopping crime. They want to disarm everybody here in Massachusetts. It's a travesty. And
I heard there's as of August 1st, they are not there. There's no more sale, right?
August 1st, all semi-automatic stuff sales are just stopped complete, from pre-band mags to all you name it. So everybody's just in a frenzy buying stuff. I personally got a couple pre-band more mags and regular standardized 10-round magazines. It's crazy. It's not funded. The bill's not funded. They're expecting people to take the class and use that money and put it in a small trust fund so they can use it to make this bill funded. So it's just a travesty. You got a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about, disconnected with society. Maura Haley is the anti-2 queen.
She didn't sign this yet, but she's expected to. Is that right?
No, she already signed it. They signed it.
Oh, she did. She did. Okay, so I missed that. All
Thursday,
right.
she signed it. Now we're just waiting basically 90 days. And then everybody are giving goals is just trying to get a rough amendment, get this, out before, November 5th. So we need 50,000 signatures, and it's.
How is she going to even enforce this?
I don't even know. I really don't know. I spoke to a couple cops in Boston, and even the sheriff in Northampton. I was out there this past Saturday. He doesn't even know how much the curriculum is going to be, how long it's going to be. It's a lot of people don't. Most police officers probably don't care because they know it's just not going to stop crime.
So just wait. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this. So they have this new law in place, and as of August 1st, you can't sell anything anymore. You can't purchase certain types of weapons anymore. But they have zero mechanisms in place for the rest of the laws, how to enforce them, how they're going to monitor anything. So they basically just deliberately put a halt on the sale and the rest of it could take years.
It could probably take years, even if it gets to the Supreme Court. It could take years. It's they want the state police to make a new curriculum. We already have the most hardest gun rules in the whole country. So it's
so they just really wanted to stop the sale. They wanted to
stop the sales and stop people, the law-abiding citizens having guns, basically. It's like the movie Demolition Man. The Democrats think it's the nice area, this 3 sheesh house, but it's really underneath ground, how we're looking right now. So it's
I think that's the bottom line. They just don't want you to be able to buy guns, and now they're going to have you mired in red tape and bureaucracy for years, fighting every little thing. I mean, I heard some of the things out of this bill, and it was just a laundry list of minutia, little baby rules that no one will ever be able to memorize or live up to. They're restricting what people from 18 to 21 could buy. They're saying you got to register your guns with the state if you're coming to visit even.
I didn't read into that. I mean,
I heard a bunch of different things.
Yeah, it's basically they attacked everyone's civil rights here. Let's just put it that way.
This one matters for your kids. If you inherit guns, you used to have 180 days, I heard, in order to get all your paperwork and get everything in order. When you inherited them, now you have 60. So if you're not buttoned up fast, they can just confiscate them.
It's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
This thing's unconstitutional. I don't think they even have the manpower to try to go door to door. And besides, I think police officers wouldn't even do it because they made it opposed to the Constitution. So it's
But they know that, but they do it anyway because they know how much damage they can do while we're fighting it in court.
Just look at Venezuela.
Look at Venezuela.
Just look what happened. It got stolen, and people had just had enough.
What's the temperature like? And now you're in the gun community. You're at the range. You're talking to your students. What are you hearing on the street with regard to this bill? How are people feeling?
A lot of people probably don't even know about it. Really, only a small of us in the Boston community. For the ones who are instructors here in Boston, including myself, the people that we know, we try to tell them. And some of them are mad about it. Of course, the 2A community is upset, highly upset. But when it comes to a socio-economical standpoint, they're gonna outprice everything and make it so harder for people who live in the urban community who can't afford it, right? And then they're trying to make the state, everybody across the state, from private gun clubs to do mandate live fire, but it just doesn't work that way because you have to get into certain clubs. There's only probably maybe 6 or 7 total public clubs across the state, so it's the manpower is not there.
And they know that.
It's going to be hard, really hard. It's not going to make any sense. They think it is, and it's not, and it's not going to make anybody safe. I give it to this winter; it may just explode.
It's really getting scary here, how on every front, what we're seeing with Democrats is they're putting forth bills like this that are just so absurd, so unconstitutional. But again, they know that they can do a ton of damage in the meantime.
Right.
They can now what'll happen is they can take years to figure out their bill, but what they're going to do is put gun shops out of business entirely.
Yeah.
And, in order to come back in a few years when the Supreme Court rules that this was unconstitutional, the capital investment for somebody that already lost their shirt is going to be unrealistic.
Right.
It's going to be, we got such a fight on our hands here on so many fronts. This is a really scary one though, because they're coming so far after our, for right to free speech. It's just our parental rights are under attack.
Yeah.
I just read about a kid in Maryland who wanted to transition and his parents said no, or her parents, I didn't get too deep. The parents said no, and the state took the kid away from the parents. Mm. So without our guns,
right,
none of our other rights are safe.
Right. It's a travesty. I tell people, it doesn't matter who's in office, your neighborhoods are still going to be the same. I try to tell people, focus on more local politics, because the president's not going to change wherever you live. They may set it up, but they're not going to fix wherever you live, like in Florida, and I live in Massachusetts. It's your local politics. It's like your Governor Healy, your Mayor Woos, your Andrea Campbell's, Attorney Generals, etc. Kim Driscoll's. These are the people who write your laws and enforce the stuff. So it's funny. I always said that, and I always thought, really focus on the local. But I'd say the past 5 years or so, it's not entirely true anymore. Yes, that is important that we focus there, but we need people focusing on the federal too, because our Congress has gone so haywire and is so full of communists. The Congress wants to grab guns now. Congress isn't right.
fighting to protect our border anymore. Congress is fighting to get us voting to get us involved in more wars and spending money on illegals. So, and Congress is shipping illegal aliens. They're all involved in shipping them all over the country and dropping them in our local jurisdictions. So, right now, that's the thing. The fight's gotten a lot bigger, because it used to be you could just fight them. You could fight City Hall and maybe win.
Right.
It's
just on a national scale. It's just, you just got to prepare, because we don't know what's going to happen before close to November. Who knows? I think Ukraine was just a waste. We had no business being over there, but it was a proxy war.
Yes.
It's for money. That's what it is. It was just money laundering. That's all it was, money laundering.
Big money laundering. If we were really against Russia, we wouldn't still be buying oil from Russia.
Right.
And yet we are. I mean, none of it makes any sense. And, but Maura Healey, signing that bill isn't a surprise. Back to the gun bill isn't a surprise.
Right.
She cares nothing about, oh, what, you know what? I don't know if this is true because I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I was listening to another podcast about the gun bill.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that it added that was odd is that you could buy ammunition with
The
your
EBT.
EBT card. Is that,
Yeah,
have you
so
heard that?
Goals talked about that. They came back and made a video saying they kind of got it wrong, so that's not true.
Okay.
It's not true because when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, how is that even possible? Buy EBT with cards. You can't buy with food, but you can buy with that. So I think that's not true in the bill. That's not true.
All right. Thank you for clarifying
Yeah,
that.
because Goals clarified that too. So I was like, wait a minute. So it says, and then like I said, now they're doing a permit for pepper spray.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's new now in the bill. Now they're trying to make a permit for pepper spray. I'm like, for pepper spray? For pepper spray for creeps out there, and you got little children, daughters, even my wife, and even regular females can have pepper spray to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're like, I think it was ages 12 or 15 to like 18, you got to have like a permit for pepper spray. You
and I had texted before we talked, and we talked about this. Should you stay, people in blue states where rights are being infringed, should you just get up and move, or should you stay and fight? What do you think?
For me, because I don't have that choice, my wife's base is in Boston. I mean, my family's in Framingham, but the majority of my family's is down south on the West Coast. So for me, it's like, clear sailing. But when you have a partner that's so close to being home in the city in Boston, it doesn't want to leave because that's that's where the base is, and rightfully so. It makes it tough, especially when you got kids in daycare, location, get a new job. You don't want to just up and relocate.
Totally.
It's many factors. If you're trying to get a house, and it's just many factors, and it makes it difficult. Very difficult sometimes.
We shouldn't have to get up and run. People are. Right. But if people have the energy to get up and run and move and really just disjoint their whole life and rearrange their entire existence, why don't they just use that energy to stay and save what they love?
I don't know. Even if you try to fight, it's just proving that it proves a point. They're not going to listen to you. They don't care. They'll just smile in your face. Sure, and they'll do the opposite. So I guess it's just when enough's enough. It's just like, I had enough. It's like Massachusetts going through an exodus. And as your last point, I think you had a couple. Everyone, like 20% of the state is leaving. All the investors, everyone's leaving. And the only people there are like the older boomers and the elderly. So it's people like me who are young, from like 18 to 35. It's quite expensive to live there. So it's people have to.
Yeah.
They gotta pay attention and just really don't have the blinders on. You gotta take them off and look around you.
Yeah, I talked to a friend and up in Mass in Boston, and I said, I was like, "Wow, man, place is on fire, huh?" And she was like, and she goes, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh my God, what rock are you living under? What rock are you under? Like I can't even." And I just said, "Never mind." Because I mean that could have taken a year of conversation in order to catch her up to speed on how bad her life is getting, and she doesn't even know yet. Because it's some people, it's not going to hit them until it hits them square on the nose.
That's what's going to happen. Probably the majority of people in Boston, unfortunately, not all, but the majority is going to feel it. When it happens, it's going to happen. I'm going to be like, I told you so. Just do what I got to do to prepare. So.
Well, protect your family. I mean, it sounds like now you got a wife with a big family. You got a lot of people who are going to be standing behind you.
Yeah, it's tough here, but you say tough times create good men, tough men. So.
Well, I hope that's still true. That's still true. I mean, there are plenty of tough men in this country. I don't know if you saw I think it was White Guys for Kamala over the weekends. Yeah. Have you seen those clips? Those are not the tough guys. Those are the guys who are, what'd you think?
Marker. Just a marker. I honestly, to me, even like I said, that's just Kamala's not right. Not even that she shouldn't even be running for presidency, but that's just my opinion. Other people, I mean, Trump. I mean, like when he was in office before, everything was okay. Um, but I think it's just how the Democrats did it. They didn't do a prime. She wasn't on the primary vote. No one voted for her. They just automatically installed her. Say, hey, here you go. This is it. And I think a lot of people are starting to pay attention now. What's going on? So all that laughing, say, ha 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 ha, it's not going to work when it really comes close to November.
Well, I sure hope you're right. So back to the call. Yeah, it was. I just found it embarrassing, and it scares me how many people are completely oblivious to how they're just giving up their rights, and they even gave up their right to select a candidate because the Democrats wouldn't put Joe out in for primary debates because they knew that everybody would see. They manipulated this whole thing, and now they're just going to install her without the will of the people because they could have had a better candidate. I mean,
they could have.
I mean, I still don't think any of their candidates could have beat Trump, but they could have had better than this.
Yeah. It's like, look at them like, okay, this is the way the country's going. All right.
You're super chill. You're so chill. You have a very calm energy. I'm like, oh man.
It's just you. I mean, I have political conversations with my friends, but it's like it's just you can only say so much, and when you point out certain things, it's like, hey, listen. I mean, if you all ones who do vote Democrats, like, listen, the neighborhoods are still the same. It doesn't matter 4 years. It doesn't matter who's going to be in it. They're not changing where we live. It's us. It's the local people who fix the stuff that you have to focus on. But you do what you do, and you know what? I just don't want to hear when people complain. Oh, it's still the same. I was like, well, I told you. I just got to prepare for my family and what's coming. So it's just that's all I can really focus on. And
what can people do in Massachusetts? Is there anything they can do or anyone they can support to help fight this crazy new gun law?
Get in contact, with your local politics. Get contact goals. I mean, contact people if you know who's instructors like myself. To try to find a way. Try to take a class immediately. They're still talking about the new curriculum and all that stuff. That's like, disengagement tactics, wound care. When it comes to what else I can say, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no, that happens to me constantly.
It's just going to be a lot harder, and like now it's not the time to be procrastinating, and just really just get in there and just get your license. You don't even have to buy them. Just get your license. Just get your license. Just to be prepared. And it's a travesty, and I think there's still a lot of people who don't know about this because they don't pay attention to local stuff. So they think, they just see the summary, 2-page summary. Oh, okay, that's it, and not really diving into the bill like I did. And it's just like you can only do so much.
That's with everything. That's with every bill. I mean, there'll be a snippet on the news and people will repeat it. I didn't even see the news yet on the liberal news on this bill. Maybe it was, Massachusetts is, revolutionary and, protecting its citizens with new gun reform. That's probably the spin on it. Nothing to do with this massive infringement on constitutional rights.
Right.
So people don't read the bills. It's up to us to, try to get some information out there. I mean, I can't read everything. You can't read everything. There's only so much time. We're living our lives with our families and working. So thank you, though, for taking the time to share what you did know and your perspective on it.
Thank you. I got like 8% left on my phone.
Well, you are just in time because we can wrap it up. And what's the name of your business, or where do people find you if they want to come for your instruction?
My business is 617Defense. I'm out of Boston. I can usually come to you when I do classes. I do teach at 1102 Blue Hill Ave in Dorchester. Do have a class August 4th. So some spots are still available if you want to take it. I say take the class, pass on the application, even if you do have to wait. Even if you do live in the suburbs, it may take a shorter time than Boston, which probably gauges 4 to 6 months. I know in the town of Milton, it's like 2 weeks because there's nothing happening in Milton. That's right down the street from Mattapan. So it just depends on the municipality and all that stuff. So it's just
got to get going. People got to get the ball rolling. They got
get the ball rolling. Get as much training as possible. Doesn't matter, even if you're waiting for your license. Just take a Stop the Bleed course. Like I'm doing one for free on August 31st with my partner Antonio Miles from the Urban Shooting Experience, and then at Easy Pie in Revere, August 31st. That's a free course. You can DM me at 617Defense LLC here on Twitter. You can email me at 617defense@gmail.com. I'm on IG, 617Defense. These are the handles. You can reach me, talk to me if you want. And I'd be more than happy to reach out to you and put you in the right direction if you have certain questions on the bills. And Goals actually has like a summary breakdown. They break it down for you, for anybody who is interested in the law and trying to understand it. So, and they're still dissecting it, as we speak. So, new stuff can come up.
All right. And all right. Thank you so much. And go get out of here before your phone dies.
Thank you. Sorry about it. Talk longer.
Talk soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming today, for watching. Follow Nolan at 617Defense on Instagram. And let's do what we can to spread the word, because little by little, our constitutional rights are being destroyed once again by Democrats. I can't understand why they want to do that. Oh, wait, I can, because they want a communistic society of good people being unarmed so we can't stand up to the government. I hope we never have to. But the reason the Second Amendment is there is to protect all the other amendments and all the other rights. And without it, we get tyranny, which is what we're seeing. Have a great weekend, and God bless you, and God bless America.
Have you heard of the based mother?